All right, welcome to Geeks Talking Geeks. Sorry about the skipping a week. Work happened, but right now, with hopefully some more geeks will help us join in. How's it going, Sylph?
It's going good. How are you, Bendito?
I'm doing great. I mean, you're over there. You're over there in the east. Miss having you here in California.
I'm coming back during October.
Really? Ah, sweet,
Mm-hmm.
sweet. Yeah, yeah. One question.
Of course.
Is there? I heard that like deep in the South, their coleslaw is really good. Is that really true?
I'm not a coleslaw person, so I'm not the person to ask. That being said, my sister-in-law, who is a big coleslaw fan, has commented that she appreciates the cabbage quality out here.
Mm, yeah. And
So
also,
I think
like,
that could be it.
yeah. Well, you're a vegan and you can enjoy Southern barbecue, but you can enjoy their fixins.
Oh yeah, well, I'm pescatarian, so I can still enjoy the mud bug side of southern barbecue, which is lovely. Like I love me some crawdad boils or seafood boils without sausage.
Yeah, that just sounds awesome.
Hmm.
Uh, what do they? I got a question. Do they have a meatless hudang balls down there?
I have not seen one myself personally.
Hmm.
Most
Hopefully,
people down here think tofu is a foreign word, so
yeah. All right. So, for all right. So we are going to while we're waiting for a couple geeks to join us. That will be John from John's Long Box and maybe Reverend Sully. We are going to. There are a couple that we. I wanted to get your take on the the thing about Diamond. What happened with Diamond a couple months ago when they sold their stock and inventory to of Pathfinder to Chase, and like they the whole thing just went like their August, so their entire August library didn't go to, like,
yes.
yeah, their
So,
entire.
so
All right, go ahead.
sorry, it's cutting, but so what I understand from the whole situation is uh shoot, Black Diamond is now bankrupt, and as a way to mediate said bankruptcy, they decided to take all their liquidations of their assets, which were created by other people and technically legally not theirs, except for one little clause. Every individual product they receive the rights to publish or print has to be backed by a separate contract from the separate company, which is something that a lot of companies don't standardize doing because of the bellyache that it causes between the both companies. It looks bad on Black Diamond's side because Black Diamond's thinking, wait, so you're saying there's a possible chance you're going to go publish elsewhere? Well, if that's the case, I won't publish you at all. But it is a really good band-aid for this situation. So Pathfinder and many other different companies did not acquire said contracts for the stuff they are creating. So when Black Diamond took this to the court system, technically they had the legal right to attempt to file it as their own personal liquidation assets.
Mm,
From what I've seen from other court issues around similar situations, because they did not get those contracts, sadly, Black Diamond has legal rights to liquidate after making an appealment to have the now personal rights of the products they own. I do not think it's right, like, especially as a small creator standpoint. I hope for the love of everything that this is a big wake up call for these small game publishing companies to either have their own smaller website and maintain the loss through that, or to make sure they dot their I's and cross their T's regardless of how much legal issues and bellyaching it will cause, so that this doesn't happen again, because Black Diamond is finding the loopholes and using them to their advantage. So technically they're not doing anything illegally, but they are doing a lot of things that are morally corrupt, I would believe.
Yeah.
Like, these aren't their ideas. This isn't their love. This isn't their passion. This is something that they see as a money funnel for them and have created the option to allow it to other people. They typically will claim up to 50% of all proceeds from retail bookstores and stuff like that when they are putting it out. From what I've seen, there's times where only these small creators who create these things receive less than 25% of the actual profit back.
Yeah.
And that I personally think is very disgusting.
Yeah. All right. We got another guest, a fellow geek, John from John's Long Box.
Hey,
how you doing?
Good.
Hello.
I turned on my computer and it decides to update. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm
It's
one of
okay,
these people
John.
that leave it on for weeks at a time, and then I decide to turn it off, and now it's updating on me. So.
All right. John, this is Sylph. He's our voice for the Gen Z audience, but he's also the fellow dungeon master.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I heard you talk about Pathfinder. You're a D&D player?
Yes, sir. I've been doing D&D ever since I could read.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started. I'm an old fart here. You can see the gray. I started playing with the red box with my buddies back in the 70s, and we didn't know what we were doing, but man, did we have fun! And I played up until the 2nd edition, and then I started playing a different game, Villains Vigilantes, and I never went back to Dungeons and Dragons. So I missed all of the edition wars, the civil war between Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, and I'm vaguely following these 5th edition controversies. So
Yeah.
I
And
have a question for you, if that's okay, actually.
yeah, sure.
As someone who started in the first ages of D&D, what made you decide after a 2nd edition that you were done with D&D, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh,
With specifically
because I
that
discovered
format.
Villains Vigilantes. I'm a superhero guy, so
Mhm.
Villains Vigilantes was the first. Maybe it wasn't the first, but it was the first for me superhero role playing game, and it used 3d6. The same stats. It's instead of Constitution, they said endurance. Instead of dexterity, they say agility. And it was the same thing. You roll up your character 3d6, but there was no character classes. You're a superhero, so you rolled for powers, and you could get the craziest combinations. And then we did some house ruling, so you could drop a power to boost. You know what I mean? We decided it was better to have a nice, focused, streamlined character than a character with 18 crazy powers. And then we did. I must have played that for about 15 years. And then I just got the urge to play Dungeons and Dragons. So we use Villains Vigilantes rules to play Dungeons and Dragons. To me, the Dungeons and Dragons fatal flaw, and again, I stopped at 2nd edition, so maybe they addressed this. They had 2 fatal flaws. So I'm Johnny Fighter Man. So I'm gonna make up a fighter character. I roll an 18 strength and I roll an 18 constitution. Yeah, back then an 18 constitution just meant you got +4 hit points. Then you roll 1d10. And I rolled a 1, and I got an 18 strength. So I'm like Hercules. I got an 18 endurance. I'm like Rasputin the Mad Monk. You can't kill me, but I got 5 hit points. And I just thought that was just way too swingy and random. And it always ended up we just let people re-roll until they got a 10, and now you got 10. You know what I mean? But with Villains Vigilantes, if you have an 18 strength, it gives you a modifier. And if you have an 18 endurance, it gives you a modifier, and agility. And it gives, so if you have high stats, you're going to have high hit points. And if you have low stats, so you're going to have, so my friend Paul's first character was Dreadnought. And Dreadnought was a robot. One of his abilities was he was a robot. That's just like a power that you could roll. And he thought that was the coolest thing. So he had super strength. He had big, like he was very heavy and armored. And at first level, he had 360 hit points. Now, my friend Jan, he made a character, and he had 3 powers. He had a precognition, so he could see the future, regeneration, and flame powers. So he called himself Prometheus. The Prometheus from Greek mythology. He could see in the future, he could regenerate, and he gave fire to man.
Ooh.
And he was Batman, and Paul was a robotic Superman. And Jan's character had 3 hit points. So here we are on an adventure with one guy with 360 hit points is just as impressive in Villains Vigilantes as it is in Dungeons and Dragons. So just imagine you playing first level and you have 300, that's like godlike. So
that also helps dungeon masters who have to make everything only 2 hit points, or your first party will get jumped by rats opening a door type situation that prevents that from happening.
Right. I remember all my characters were like, oh my God, 3 orcs. Like we were hiding, But
Yeah.
What I liked about this was, I don't know. Are you a comic book person? How do you say your name? Cliff? Slith?
Sylph.
Sylph. Are you a comic book person at all?
I would like to believe I enjoy comic books, but as compared to Reverend Sully or Bandito, I am not.
So you're familiar with them, so you'll get this reference. On the Avengers, you have Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Also in the Avengers, you have the Wasp or Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you have a character with 360 hit points at first level, and you have a character with 3 hit points at first level, and it works because they do different things.
Mm-hmm.
So the Dreadnought and Prometheus super team, they played the game differently. So Prometheus, Jan's character, he liked to solve puzzles and mysteries, and Paul liked to smash things. So it was great. So I would make gigantic monsters and super powerful villains, and Paul would just smash them all, and then Jan would go around flipping traps and solving mysteries and and rescuing civilians, and they just worked like the perfect team.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I liked, so the fatal flaw was the swinginess of the hit points. The other thing was the attributes, for the most part. Again, maybe they fixed this in 3rd edition and up, because I stopped. Was that if you had an 18 strength or a 15 strength, it really didn't make that much of a difference.
They did not fix that, sadly.
Right, it didn't. So you just needed it so you could be a paladin. Okay, I got the 17 charisma, but it really didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Villains Vigilantes, every stat meant something, and every stat gave you something because you saved versus your stats. You want to jump over a pit, you got to save versus your agility. You want to arm wrestle somebody, you save versus your strength. Things like that. So your strength always mattered. And then the last fatal flaw was Dungeons and Dragons. I got 10 hit points. I get hit for 11 damage. I'm dead. And everybody does this finagle like -10 or whatever. But originally it was, if you have 0 hit points, you die. And but this is the beauty of this is what converted me, was you have hit points. So all of your stats gave you, there was a little chart. So if you have an 18 strength, it gave you a 3.4, and then endurance of whatever. And you multiplied all those stats together, and that gave you your hit points. So every stat convert. So if your intelligence was 4, it was your modifier actually lowered your hit points. You know what I mean? Because you were too stupid to eat healthy or whatever. So you wanted to have high stats because everything contributed. And then you took your intelligence, your whatever, and you added those all up together, and that gave you another number called your power, and that represented how tired you were. So Bandito comes up to me with the baseball bat, and he hits me in the head.
Oh no!
We roll the damage. I take 6 points of damage. That comes off my hit points, but you could also roll with the punch. Boxers, they do whatever. So you could take up 10% off your power. If he does 6 damage, I got 60 power. Boom! I'm just dodging. I take no damage, but I got a little tired. You know what I mean? So each fight it's not a death sentence to just fight an orc. Like you could roll and it allows you to do. So what happens is, if you lose all your power, you're exhausted. As long as you have 1 hit point, you're up, but you're exhausted. If you lose all your hit points, but you still have at least 1 power, you're conscious. Okay, but if you if you have 1 hit point, so if you have 0 hit points and 1 power, you're unconscious. Okay, I said that wrong. But if you have 0 hit points, 0 power, then you die. So it's really tough to die. Yeah, because it's a superhero game. How often do superheroes get? And so when you're fighting Doctor Doom, you mostly knock him out. He goes to jail, he recovers, he escapes, you fight him again. And it was kind of fun to fight orcs because you didn't feel that guilty. You weren't killing. You know what I mean? Like you were mostly knocking them out. So I house ruled it that getting stabbed with a knife is lethal. So there was lethal damage and critical hits. So over 40 years of playing the game, I have a house rule list that's bigger than the rule book. But I
have a homebrew scroll.
Yeah,
that's what we like to call it.
Yeah. So, if my comic book, which is available now on Kickstarter, my comic book does well in the future,
let me put that up.
Make a Heroic Tales role playing game. And I've been tinkering with the system already, so I have plans. But it's good to see you still play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got the all important question for you then.
Okay.
How much do you hate bards?
So I feel I'm biased in this because I am okay. So I play as a DM, but I have also been playing as a player numerous times. I have played a bard like 3 out of 6 times, so I kind of have a special little place in my heart for them.
Okay.
I have you can't screw everything just for it having 2 legs. I have that.
That's what I hate about bards. It's just okay. There's a orc sitting on the treasure chest. I want to fool around with it. Why? What it's orcs. Well, first off, orcs are evil. I'm a Tolkien fan. Orcs are evil. They're irredeemable. They're bad. You don't want to sleep with that. It wants to kill you and eat you. So I just. Like,
you guys might get Oonga Boonga first, but you'll get your skull cracked after Oonga Boonga.
Yeah.
But I don't want to the last fantasy, because I don't say Dungeons and Dragons. The last time we played in the fantasy world, did you see the movie Bone Tomahawk?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Those are orcs. Those are orcs. So you don't want to be around them. You don't want to be captured by them, and you especially don't want to Oonga Boonga with them. So orcs are in my game when the orcs do finally show up, they're scarier than dragons because they use tactics. They got special skills, and if you get knocked out, because normally in superheroes you get knocked out, the villain leaves. No, the orcs, that's the best time to kill you. That's the best time to attack you when you're knocked out.
I kind of got around this with a little thing I like to do with persuasion over charisma.
Okay.
Like, you're not flirting and courting this person. This person already hates you the moment you walk through the door. You got to convince them that you're worth even talking to at this moment. And typically, when you see the thorns before you even see the velvet, it does dissuade people who are just doing it for the fun of it, random, like lols.
Yeah. Stereotypically, charisma is the dump stat, right? Unless you want to play a paladin or a bard, nobody can. But if you want to be a superhero and you have low charisma, that's bad.
Yeah, you're gonna scare the citizens.
Right. Superman, one of his best powers is he's charismatic. Spider-Man has a middle charisma. Half the people.
And Batman's got negative charisma. We all know this, except for when he's Bruce. When he's Bruce, he randomly gets a +6 modifier to everything he says.
See, but now that's one of the things I do is the original Vigilantes game doesn't have skills, so so we have skills. So you could every time you level up, you could purchase skills. So you could get persuasion, seduction. Like if you want to go for the sexy James Bond guy. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I'm trying to think of who would be like a stereotypical sexy character. You could train in persuasion, seduction.
Legolas.
Things like that.
Or Natasha, Black Widow.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Natasha Black Widow. Yeah. That's her. One of her weapons is the wink and the nod and the what I mean and the sachet.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
she
that's just as dangerous as having good charisma.
yeah. So she has charisma, high charisma, but she boosts it with trading and seduction, persuasion, sexiness. You know, I don't have a list of skills, and that kind of freaks a lot of my players out. I'm like, is it a real skill? Then you could get it. So just what as long as you can come up with the name for it, because I have like this, you get +2 on your saves if you have that skill, but they'll stack. So if you're the Black Widow and you're going after whatever bad guy man, and you want to seduce him for the information. So you get a save versus your charisma, but you got to get a +2 for persuasion, sexiness, charm, whatever. Like conversation is a skill. You just talk. So you could stack all of these because you're using them all in the course of a night, and then you roll the dice. And the way I play it is you roll low. So if your charisma 17 and I rolled a 2, I succeeded. 17 minus 2 is 15. Just quick math. Boom. You
Mhm.
succeed by 15. But if you have 4 skills, that gives you a +8. So for the purposes of that roll, your charisma is 23. So you just succeeded by 21, which is supernatural because stats are 3 to 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
All right.
that's my house rules. So basically, you know how to play my superhero game. Come on over. Let's play.
Where you at? I'm in Tennessee.
Oh.
All
That's
right.
the stretch goal of my comic. If I make it to $100,000, I'm flying friends over, and they make comic books, and they're going to make their characters, and we're going to play role playing games. I'm only at 6,000, so we're almost there.
Oh,
I'd be interested to toss Bunny Man in there.
What's that?
he has a bunny. He has a comic book that he made. He was inspired by what's his name? Johann Vasquez.
Oh, put the link in the
Oh,
private chat.
Jonan Vasquez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Invader Zim, and why can't I think of the other comic?
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. There was one panel in Johnny the Homicidal Maniac that I laughed for about 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how in Squee and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, they have that scene where that really terrible date happens, and you get more of it in Squee. I found that just chef's kiss.
Yeah. I like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
All right. All right,
That's
guys.
a deep cut. Good. I haven't thought of that in years.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Before we go into the White Wolf discussion, take a look at this that was released in D&D just earlier this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say that the art is great, but
Yeah.
it's wasted here.
The art is great, but that is not Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it says "Life of a Showgirl," but how is this Dungeons and Dragons?
It's very okay. I could see it as Dungeons and Dragons if, say, this was a setting where this girl is performing for, say, the Fae or a higher Elven. I could see them having something like this. That being said, you need to put a lot of forethought into it to connect it to D&D.
Yeah, but like, if you really before, I want to put a couple of links right here on the chat. Like, if you really want a D&D experience, try these. There's great new game that just came out called Draw Steel, and instead of a 20-sided dice, this has a 18 dice. So you use this just came out, so instead of a 20-sided dice, you'll use 2 8 dice, or
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like a 9-sided die.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. Can I add something to that previous photo we were talking about? You don't have to bring it up or anything.
Yeah.
I read the thing next to it. It said conspiracies in blank. I could see them arguing that is like a party for like Elvin or Faye or something like that, but that does not scream a conspiratous, like controversial, like detective vibe that they're trying to read with the actual caption of it.
Yeah.
I'm an old grognard, and I will say that is about as far from D&D as you could possibly get. D&D is a war game, but since Critical Blast came out,
Critical Role.
Critical Role, yeah, Critical Blast is my buddy RJ. I'm sorry, but since Critical Role came out, it's theater kids playing therapy sessions.
That's
you know.
Yeah.
I remember when they made those like consent forms that they wanted players to sign. So I downloaded them for my friends as a joke, and I didn't say anything. I was like, "Here, before we play," they were like offended. They're like, "F you!" If you, I was like, "That's the reaction I wanted." If anybody took this seriously, I don't want to play with them anymore. Yeah, I'm old school, offensive, and I make no bones about it.
Speaking about Critical Role, this is their game that they just created.
Well, it's their stuff. They can do whatever they want. You know?
They created their own world, their own.
God bless them. That's good.
Their own world, their own history. It's called Daggerheart. It just launched, and finally is Troll Lord Games. I'm putting all of these up on the chat because if you want like an authentic D&D experience, look these up because I feel like Wizards of the Coast just dropped the ball with D&D for a long time. And Troll Lord Games was like Gary Gygax and later his son helped create this world. I mean, look at all these worlds that he helped create. And he helped create these worlds, and also with his rules, like the worlds of Gary Gygax, the worlds of Arad, Castle Crusades. These are all adventures that were created using the system he created that he wanted to create until Wizards of the Coast kicked him to the curve. So, like, if you guys want an authentic D&D experience, look up Draw Your Steel, Daggerheart, or Troll Lord Games.
Okay.
Do you make up your own stories or do you use modules?
I was about to say I'm more of a home brewer myself. I don't really use prompted stories because I'm a comic writer. I'm a story writer, and I love using that in D&D. Like right now, I'm doing a murder mystery in a dreary coastal town. That once they complete the first half of it, it will then be revealed to be a completely other different mystery and stuff like that. Like I love that they are giving those who are first beginning or those who might not want to write stories the option to have amazing stories in their campaigns.
Yeah.
Typically they don't hit the head or scratch that itch with me. So I just
I look at modules like, okay, I'm getting into Dungeons & Dragons. You buy a prepackaged setting, you buy a prepackaged model. But I think everybody who sticks with it after a while, they want to make their own stuff. So good for you.
Why, thank you. I'm actually trying to figure out a new digital format for making these maps. It's a lot of them are price gouging the tools to use them, and I don't want to flat out just use one of my drawing formats because it just makes everything so much harder.
Yeah, I don't like AI anything.
I
despise it. He already knows. I would burn it all if I could.
I don't want AI maps. I don't want to read AI novels. I don't want to use AI. I don't want to read AI comic books. It's to me first and foremost, it's just lazy.
Yeah.
And if you're too lazy to put in the work, why do I want to experience it? Why do I want to spend time with something you were too lazy to do?
All right. So speaking of AI, our first discussion right now is White Wolf, the world famous World of Darkness publisher has come back from the dead last year. They released the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse. They say that they're going to add other other games as well, such as Changeling, Wraith and Hunters. But recently, they had said they have been accused of using AI art through some job posting.
I think everybody's going to be accused of it nowadays. It's unfortunately AI ain't going away, and it, you know, and you know, my artist hand draws my comics, and somebody just to be a jerk started, oh, that's AI. I'm like, but other people shut up because this guy has done comics for a few people, so they know the guy, they know Renzo, But it's just like it's going to happen. To me, that looks totally AI, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Looks it.
It gets worse too.
Yeah, so it gets worse.
Oh, it gets worse. Okay.
Yeah, so
it gets so much worse.
Yeah, so White Wolf put open positions that White Wolf is back and we're hiring. We're building something new in Stockholm, a studio dedicated to the world-class storytelling, gothic horror, and features the world of darkness. All right, what they were looking for was lead game designers, commissioning art director, editor, rules manager, operation director, and producer. And this was a Reddit thread discussing the wording and in its potential implication. Some quickly assumed the vagueness of AI tools might imply that White Wolf is embracing generative AI technology that has been proven to be exploitative, hallucinatory, I don't know that word, and ecologically devastating. Recent reports have
Hallucinatory.
Hallucinatory. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My side is bad, so I was like, "What is that word?" Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
I
So-
zoom it in.
Yeah. So the generative AI chatbots like ChatGPT to psychosis activity while performing tasks during and after using it. Many tabletop RPG creators and publishers have rejected AI, and larger companies such as Wizards of the Coast has clarified specific policy forbidding using AI generative in artwork responses to public and criticism, specifically after an artist admitted using a Gen AI for his work. Big B Presents Glory of Justice was replaced later in later editions and online. Rascal reached out to White Wolf to inquire about that phrasing and which part of the company owner Paradox, White Wolf, or World of Darkness included this question within. The representative responded with the following statement, which includes White Wolf does not use generative AI in our tabletop, whether they're developed in-house or through our partner lines, Renegade Game Studios. Both White Wolf and Renegade strive to ensure that all art and copy is original work of the artist, writers, AI. The AI in question is standard required in all Paradox Initiative job applications and isn't specifically to White Wolf. It can refer to AI-powered tools like Grammarly. Crap. Why do they have to name AI?
Grammarly?
Yeah, why do they have to name AI so?
Yeah, you don't have to read the whole article. We get the. Have you guys played White Wolf?
I have
not.
And I'm kind of surprised because Sil said he doesn't play White Wolf, and I'm like, but you're a goth. I thought you would play White Wolf.
I played World of Vampire for years with a group when I was in college, and I liked it, but it was. I don't know. It was. I thought the game system was better than Dungeons and Dragons, but I just couldn't wait to go back to. So I played D&D with all my friends. When I went to college, I joined a group that played Vampire, and then when the story was over, the DM or the game master said, "Anybody want to do something for like a week or two while I write up a new story?" And I jumped at the chance to introduce them to Village Vigilantes, and we never went back. I was the game
We
master.
got him hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, John, I'm going to ask you first. What is your take on like RPG, TTRPG replacing artists with AI.
I hate it. I hate AI. Like I said, it's lazy. It's a lack of imagination. It's lazy. And why do I want to pay you when I could just hit a button and generate something? There's a guy who brags about generating 50,000 word novels in 2 hours, puts a fake name on the book, puts it on Amazon, sells it, and then generates another fake novel, puts another fake name on it. It keeps tricking because everybody who's on Amazon, sooner or later they'll pick up your book. But I said that's why you use fake names, because you're doing something shady. I just find it to be lazy, and unfortunately, it's going to become like they're going to make programs now that detect AI. They get better and better and better, but it's going to be like fake news and disinformation. Like I don't know if this is true. Like I'm not in Gaza Strip. These, and I don't mean to get political, but I'm like, Team A could be the good guys, but then you think Team A is the bad guys. And we both have valid points, and we're both quoting news sources, but we don't know if you're, what I mean? That's the way it's going to be. Somebody's going to say Bandito Bane is using AI, and it's going to be hard to disprove it because AI is going to get better and better. The ability to detect it is going to get. So this is just a whole genie out of the bottle that's not good.
Yeah. All right. Sylph, you're an artist, and you love TTRPGs, and like what is this going to mean for like artists who want to start working on TTRPGs?
This is a very worrisome practice. If they are using AI, they could be saying, "Oh, well, we're not using it in home, or we're not using it blank."
Bingo.
What they could be doing is they are offering this job to numerous hundreds of thousands of creative people. So these creative people are sending off their portfolios with what they seem best represents them and their relationship with the company. Once they have submitted their portfolio to this company, the company now owns the portfolio and has the right to do whatever they want with it. The company could be taking these portfolios from these creative people and giving them to AI, and then AI could be taking them and turning them in what they deem is what they want. So technically, they're not using in-home AI because it's outsourced art, and they're ripping off people and stealing their personal signature flair and turning it into something completely soulless. And these people are often claiming, well, AI bridges the gap between normal people and artists. And I've actually been called a blue blood because I am someone who has picked up the pencil and spent years dedicating my time to learning the craft and learning the art. And I have decided that AI is not art because it doesn't have that love. It doesn't have that passion. It doesn't have the work you put years and years and years into. And if you're like an art genius and it took you 2 to 3 years, good for you. You still picked up the pencil and attempted in order to figure out you were a genius. Like, it's not a matter of making a distance between us as artists and the people who use AI because they're not worthy of making art. It is a flat out slap in the face and disrespect to those who have dedicated. I've dedicated over 18 years of my entire life to AI, not to AI, to art and creating art the original traditional way.
This is how good I could draw. I've been drawing for 50 years. Okay. And this is how good I could draw. It's terrible. Nobody would pay for this. There's kindergartners who could draw better. So I've been trying to draw and I can't. I am in awe of somebody who dedicates their life and can do it. And saying that you're a blue blood because my colorist Oscar, he says, no, nobody has talent. He goes,
it's hard work.
He goes, all talent is the ability to learn a little bit faster than somebody else. He goes, anybody could draw. He goes, it's practice and dedication. To me, this is getting mad at, it equalizes the play. It shouldn't be equal. It shouldn't be equal. You should hone your craft. I don't want to live in a skyscraper or a doctor that just went online and did some cute. Oh, now I know how to do it. No, I want somebody who dedicated it to learn. You know what I mean? Like we can't have, being an architect, you're a blue blood architect. Now I'm just going to use AI. No, I want the top skilled people. There's a reason why artists are revered and they make money, and we think it's cool. Same with musicians. I hate AI generated music. It's soulless. It's kind of scary.
It really is.
And so I want to listen to somebody that practiced, and learned and wrote something and okay, that's not good. I'm going to do better. That's enjoyable, pleasant, and admirable. You don't deserve it because you want it. You deserve it because you did something for it. You practiced. You worked hard. So anybody calling you a blue blood, F them in the A. I don't know what I'm allowed to say in the channel.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we still got 20 minutes with you, John. And
after that, he's just like, all right, John, you're on a timer now.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, all right. So I'm going to bring this up with Sully because he used to rile me up with this. But like a couple weeks ago in All New Venom #9, it finally happened. They finally broke up Mary Jane with that piece of dead weight named Paul. And I was just so happy when I first saw that. I was like, yes, it's over. It's over.
Yeah,
but
I've never seen a comic book character that people hated as much as Paul.
Well, originally he was a plot device,
maybe,
and he overstayed his welcome.
Yeah, maybe it was Alpha, but they got rid of Alpha in less than a year. But like they kept putting him on a pedestal every issue he was on in Amazing Spider-Man during the Zeb Wells run, and they made him completely perfect. But he did not deserve to be perfect. He caused the genocide because he imprisoned his father. His father killed his best friend, and he did nothing to stop his father from causing a genocide in his world. And somehow Mary Jane is with this guy. And I was like, oh God. And she treated Peter like crap throughout the whole first part of the series, throughout the entire Zebwell run. And it was like, is this really Mary Jane or is this Invasion of the Body Snatchers? But like, it was like, yeah, Mary Jane told Paul that this relationship was not working out. They could not fix it. And she's like, I'm sorry, Paul, I'm breaking up with you. And when I saw this page, I was just so ecstatic. Where is it? There it is. No, not that one. Oh crap.
Your favorite page, and you can't find it, sadly.
There it is. There it is. I saw this page and I was just so ecstatic. Even the sunshine shining behind them. Yes, that was like the exclamation point. The chef's kiss. And
well, she
I gotta give it to
that hairstyle a long time ago.
And I gotta give it to Carlos. What was that?
I said sometimes the man bun can work if done right. He did not do it right.
Yeah, but I gotta give it to Carlos Gomez. His art is always great, especially his art with Mary Jane. He did the Amazing Mary Jane series. But like with what's going on right now with Amazing Spider-Man, turns out like this is from Time Slide number 1. Do you remember the event called Time Slide number 1, John?
Yeah, that was like in the 90s, right?
No, it was actually the latest one. It came out in January. It had Cable and Bishop saving
Oh,
the
I'm
current
thinking of
timeline.
I'm thinking of Slipstream. Slipstream came out, and it was like alternate versions of almost like steampunk.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I don't know if they ever made stories about it, but they did a lot of cool character designs. I would recommend checking it out just for the character designs. It's pretty cool.
They had the Justice League as steampunk.
No, it was Marvel. So I remember like they
Okay.
had like a steampunk looking Iron Man with all gears on him. It was pretty cool looking. I don't
Oh,
recall
I've
if
seen
they
that.
ever actually made stories. I think it was something that they were going to do, and maybe they changed their mind.
They got a heck of a lot of fan art because I've even seen fan art of that concept at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like right now, there was during the Amazing Spider-Man #9, Mary Jane revealed that she was Venom to Peter, and Peter just blew her off. And I was like, wait a minute, this isn't like Peter. I mean, we had an entire pity party of Peter during we had an entire pity party during the 8 deaths, and it was like, why? Because it was, but then I remember this probably isn't Peter, because look, in one of this has like the entire upcoming events from upcoming Marvel events this year. It has
It's
8
basically the
deaths.
to-do list for writers.
Yeah, it has 8 deaths, one world under doom, rise of the new the eternal storm becomes a god. You
Yeah.
saw this, didn't you, John?
I'm tired of alternate takes, alternate dimensions, multiple reality. It's just lazy. It means nothing matters. There's no consequences.
Well,
You know.
I'd say like the best one right now is the Galactic Leaders Assassinated. That's the Imperial time. That's the Imperial one with Jonathan Hickman. He is actually leaving Amazing Ultimate Spider-Man just to continue doing like Galaxy stuff.
Yeah, that's Jonathan Hickman never finishes anything.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Oh God. The Miss Marvel second Genesis, where she goes back in time throughout big X-Men events.
Yeah. Because people can't stand her enough, so we're gonna ruin your comics that you actually do like. That they don't like the character. Stan Lee made a couple of characters people didn't like. Move on. Nobody likes Kamala Khan. And it's not because she's a bad character, because every character could be written well. It's because they didn't do any. We forget what's his name, Rich Rider, the original Nova.
Yeah,
he had 25 issues. They were okay. Issue 25 is one of my favorite comics, but the rest of them were just run of the mill. He was gone for like 10 years, and then another writer brought him back with an interesting concept, and he caught on. But they let him go away. And then they like, okay, it's time to bring him back. We'll give a new. That's what they need to do with Kamala Khan. How many times is her comic going to get canceled to low sales? Just admit, or give her something interesting. She has no pathos. She has no interesting story. What is her defining moment? There is.
Well, she did save her New Jersey from a walking mosque.
A walking mosque. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was very, yeah. All right, who is the man with the hammer? That's the current Mortal Thor run. Ghost Fist walks. They're bringing Danny Rand back from the dead. And here's the one that I focused on. Where is Spider-Man? Because I remember Spider-Man issue 11 is going to be the Amazing Spider-Man legacy number 95 or 975.
Yeah, I was gonna say 95. Geez, that came out in 1972.
Yeah. But their main thing is it's going to be 2 different Spider-Men, but which one's the real Peter Parker? And
Oh,
so
that's just what we need now is more Spider-Mans because there's not enough.
yeah, but I
Let's dilute all the characters. You know what? Let's make 42,000 Reed Richards too. You know,
they actually made another Reed Richards.
they made Infinite of all the characters. It's just, I again, I'm an old grognard. It's if you, I will accept the character Spider-Man. I'll accept the female version Spider-Woman, and maybe like I don't know a kid or something like that, like Superman.
Miles is doing some good.
What's
yeah.
that?
I said Miles is doing some good. I appreciate the reason for Miles existing and what they have done with his character moving forward. He is not simply just another copy paste of Peter Parker.
I
He's his own
despise Miles
character.
Morales, and I despise the reason they made him. The Ditko estate was suing Marvel for the character rights, so they were hedging their bets that they thought if they lose, we're going to make another Spider-Man, so that we could go forward and have a Spider-Man and screw out the Ditko estate out of royalties. So I call him Scam Spider-Man. So he was made. All of these people who are pro-creator rights are champion Miles Morales. And when I say I don't like him, they call me racist or whatever. And I'm like, no, it was a corporation trying to screw creator rights. That's what Miles Morales is. So I
And
will
that's
never.
a reasonable reason to dislike him.
What's that?
I
It's
said
your
that's a reasonable reason to dislike him.
Yeah, it's that
yeah.
did
All
the
right.
same with the new Superman because Superman is about to go into a public domain, so they're kind of devaluing Clark Kent and making that one I can kind of understand because you don't want to. Yeah, okay, I can talk about it.
Yeah, so Grumpy Ninja, how's it going, Grumpy? All right, so Kamala Khan needs a top to bottom redesign to keep her from helping what?
Sana Amanat.
Sana Amanat is the creator of
Oh, right. This woman, I swear, Kamala Khan was basically just her self-insert.
Yep.
Getting her
to think that she probably had some sort of contract that this character has to be in print because there's really no reason. She's not popular and she doesn't sell.
All right, so getting paid.
Grumpy old ninja's got my back over here.
Miles exists not because of woke, but because DC got plowed by the Marston estate, and Marvel was fearing the same results from the Ditka estate.
There you go. Thank you, grumpy old ninja. Us grumpy old people got to stick together. Thank you.
All right, so like this is what. All right, so like this is a secret. I read Amazing Spider-Man number 10, and if you want to know where it came from, it fell off the back of a truck. But there is a person walking around pretending to be Peter Parker, and then there's someone in the streets pretending to be Spider-Man. Neither of them are real. And I remember this because Zeb Wells did a story which actually had like this one where he had Chasm, Ben Reilly actually be jealous that Peter Parker gets to live in the light while he lives in the shadows. But also I remember Chasm Curse of Cain. But the guy who's going around, I'm going to say this right now, I think the guy who's going around pretending to be Spider-Man is Scarlet Spider, aka Kane Parker, and the guy pretending to be Peter is Ben Reilly, aka Chasm. And I really hated what Zeb Wells did to Ben Reilly because he admitted that that he wanted to turn Ben to turn heel so they could focus on other Spider characters like Spider-Gwen, Miles, and the Spider-Boy. And I'm like, you don't need to turn the person heel. Yep. Yeah, Grumpy, you figured it out. And the real Spider-Man, this is like the thing is from Time Slide. Where is Spider-Man? This story that's going on right now. Spider-Man is in space, and I'm like, God, I hope this isn't a retread. God, I hope this isn't a retread of the Superior Spider-Man or Spider-Man Beyond or the Beyond. And I just, because Al Ewing just showed Light, who's the creative director, who's the group editor for Marvel right now, or not the group editor for Venom. He said that Mary Jane confessed to Peter, but not the real Peter. So it's why he blew him off, because Ben's a jerk.
I will say I like the Superior Spider-Man story. I mean, I've been around the block a few times. I knew it wasn't going to be the new status quo. My only problem with the Superior Spider-Man story was the fact that they tried so hard to sell it. Like they had, Dr. Voodoo, Brother Voodoo became the Sorcerer Supreme. Like he confirmed that it is, and even though we all knew it was Dr. Octopus. They shouldn't even have introduced that. They just don't mention it because we know it's Doctor. But other than that, I thought it was a fun take, and I knew they were going to go back to the status quo. Medusa joined the Fantastic Four. She-Hulk joined the Fantastic Four. Comic books do that. They change it up for a bit and then bring it back. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. All right. I hate modern Marvel and DC. I used to get quality books. I used to get quality books and stuff through, and now I sift through the deep dives and find anything.
You could go to Kickstarter and get Heroic Tales now. It's a high quality superhero book.
All right. Okay. Yeah. It was badly executed, Grumpy.
But I do think for literary stuff, when it comes to good writing and consistent writing that doesn't just feel like the same old, I do look more for indie small-time horrors than I do pick up superhero comics nowadays, because of what you guys have been saying is it's not an enjoyable experience, especially when people who are actually writing it will go out of their way to spoil reveals or say this character's going to be in the next sequel, and you're like, okay, cool. How does that even work? Why are you telling me this?
All right. John is going to have to go. John?
Yeah, I have to go. I got other things I got to do, and I'm going to be on another channel soon, so I got to get going. But I appreciate the invite. I like talking to you. You guys, all we do is talk about comics, so it's fun and refreshing. I enjoy this channel. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you. Again, how do you say your name? Scythe?
Sylph.
Sylph. Just like it's spelled. Nice meeting you.
Lovely meeting you as well.
I would like to talk about role-playing games. If you look me up on Twitter, DM me, come on my channel. We'll talk about D&D.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also have the same name for my Instagram if you're ever interested, and I typically respond there most.
Okay. Yeah, I barely use Instagram, but we'll
understandable.
We'll find each other. Thank you.
Okay, dokies. I'll ask Bendito for more info on you.
Yeah.
Right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right. So all right. See you, John. Also, make sure you check on John's Kickstarter. I put it in the chat earlier. Okay, so while we're waiting for Sully, this is a real aggravating to me. I don't know if Sully's come on, because I wanted to do the fallout of that. Yeah, don't worry about that, Grumpy.
No, it's okay. As long as you're not calling me something like Cynthia or full on a completely different name, I completely understand.
Yeah. All right. So this really aggravated me because recently Roblox, the game that I have seen one of my nephews play.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my you remember my childhood friend I introduced you at Spirit, that first year we worked at Spirit, Robert?
Yes, I do remember Robert.
His daughter plays Roblox, and this really disappointed me. I just gotta show you this video.
My niece was banned from playing Roblox. My older sister flat out told her Roblox got shut down and they don't exist anymore to keep her from playing that game.
Yes. All right. So this is Schlop or Schlup. He has a big Roblox channel where he a Roblox amusement park, but he was also exposed to a predator when he was a kid, and it did he needed better and that he needed to stay at psychiatric ward. His mother sued Roblox. His mother sued Roblox, but Roblox did nothing, and his groomer went on to target other children before he was finally caught and exposed for Roblox. And while he's doing another Roblox channel where he creates an amusement park for people to have fun in, he also does
Actually makes it a kid place.
Yeah, he also does something on the side where he uses the same tactics that law enforcement has been using to catch predators and expose them. And he was able to help arrest 6 predators and get them off Roblox. But instead of thanking him, this is what they did.
Cease and desist letter to me, and they've gone ahead and banned every account I own. And you might be wondering, what heinous crime did you commit to possibly deserve that? Well, what I did was get predators arrested on their platform. Actually, 6 of them. I got 6 predators arrested within the Roblox community. Some of them, the crimes are so heinous, I can't even say here on TikTok or wherever this is going. And the thing that's crazy about it is that Roblox has taken a more firm action against me, a person getting these people arrested, a person that law enforcement has made public statements saying that they are glad when people like me go ahead and give them information so that they can arrest these people. Roblox has sent me the cease and desist letter, not these predators. That is absolutely insane. And the other thing that's crazy about this is Roblox itself. It is a predator haven. There are games on Roblox like XYZ Public Bathroom Simulator. That's about 7 million. I have just gotten a legal complaint from Roblox. That's about 7 million visits, and the whole premise of the game is showering together with kids. That is the whole game. If you join it, you're going to see predators, you're going to see naked avatars, you're going to see people peeing and all this sort of weird stuff. If I was a parent and I saw that, I would be outraged. I would be totally outraged. And parents aren't aware of this. And it's so sad. I get emails from kids daily about all the horrible stuff that they're exposed to. I get emails from parents talking about what their kids were exposed to. And there are so many predators on this platform. It is actually unreal. So it's quite crazy to see Roblox go after me, a person trying to get predators arrested off of their platform, than the predators. Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. That's about.
All right, so this is what their response. They said why we remove vigilantes, and like he follows the same mechanics that law enforcement uses to find these people, and it is just so sickening to me that they are more concerned about protecting these predators than they are that protecting their audience, because like 40% of the Roblox players are 8 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just they would rather, and like Legacy Killer covered this, Legacy Killer HD. I don't know if Makany has covered this yet. That Grumpy, did Makany cover this yet?
Also, I wanted to say thank you so much, Grumpy. I really, really appreciate it. It took me a long time to get this name. And I think it all boils down to, especially what's been happening with Steam and everything lately, it's all boiling down to the bottom dollar. As Roblox of all companies should have been taken down years ago when they were exposed to exploiting children into making their levels and making their games, and they were receiving money for these games, and these children were in fact removed from using said games because they were labeled as mod admins. And so it was deemed unfair to allow these small children to play with their friends the game that they made, because it was seen unjust, because they would know the ins and outs of that game. They didn't want to spoil the fun for everyone else. And instead of actually going back and giving these children the money that they deserved, they just removed every single game that these children have made since the first games they were making money off of that were made from children. They decided to just take them down instead of giving the children the money they rightfully deserved. I am not surprised. I am absolutely disgusted, but I am not surprised in this type of behavior, because it was far easier for them to protect the adults who are paying lots of money to get access to said servers and access to these children than to actually do something about it. So they're going to take away the one singular person that they deem, when in reality there's plenty of people who are like Schlepp, who are trying to attempt to stop this heinous actions from being taken. It's just easier to get rid of Schlepp and call it a day and stop making bad publicity on it than it is to actually take the time and go through all these people and remove it. Because what I see happening is they would they have already accidentally banned the wrong person before. And they never fixed that. Somebody permanently lost every single one of their Roblox accounts. Could have been a small child, could have been a grown man. And they just banned them because of something someone else did, because they decided to not do their research properly and ban the wrong person. I'm not surprised that Roblox is so lazy that they'd rather just patched up with this singular person than actually go through each individual person and remove the people who have, like, all those chats are kept. All the conversations these characters have between one another are kept in their own little filtration bank. So it should be easy for these people to actually be removed. But the Roblox doesn't want to because of money, and because on the off chance that they do it to the wrong person. And so all these people who are predators are like, oh, predators aren't welcome on this site. That should be a good thing. It really should be. But it's more of, oh, predators aren't welcome on this site. They're not worthy of my time or my money. And so they leave. And Roblox doesn't want that. They want these disgusting predators' money so that they can create digital CP and stuff like that.
Yeah. Grumpy says that McAnee might be covering it tomorrow. Like, McAnee did cover the collective shout movement that went after Itachi, and these were a bunch of feminists that were going after games that either had who were either dating sims or actually had depictions of SA, because they said it was because they were basically feminists. They said it was basically a great outrageous towards women. It depicted women in a false light, but these were indie developers that were mainly doing this. And I was like, and they went to Steam and Hitachi, and they said they wanted those games taken down, and they said no. But then they went to MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal, and they were like, okay.
I think feminist is the wrong label for that, because it was actually often depicted that these women were trying to uphold conservative viewpoints.
Yeah.
So I think feminist is the wrong label for that, because feminists are those who are trying to uphold bodily autonomy, which goes against a lot of the conservative traits, while these were flat out women who were claiming to be under conservative perspectives. And that's why they deemed it sinful and immorally wrong to partake in pornographic games.
Yeah. And then they went to PayPal, they went to PayPal and Visa and MasterCard, and they had 6,000 of games taken off the screen, and some of them were actually indie horror games. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, so it's a bunch of women. It's a bunch of women yelling, crying wolf over a bunch of indie developers. But then and then I see something like this happening to Roblox, and I'm like, okay, where the hell is Collective Shout?
So
I mean,
I think saying that it's a bunch of women is very it's watering it down to this situation because it's a lot of people. Now they are upholding the viewpoint that it is harming women to do so, but in reality, as I stated prior, it is a conservative viewpoint of what is immoral in their eyes and what they deem is disgusting and shouldn't be on board. And yet they're allowing predators to go around, as you stated. It's a matter of, sadly, those in our highest form of governments and a non-political viewpoint have decided that predators are people that can try again over and over and over and over and over and over again, regardless of who that hurts. And on top of it, with this situation, now that they're able to take Visa and say, I have your power, you destroy this, or else you don't have me. Okay, well, what changes that next week? They decide that, Irene forbid, those who participate in culturally important games, like games that manage to focus on the Latino community or games that manage to focus on the Haitian community. Now they think those are morally wrong because they have a form of voodoo in it, or they have a form of a cultural practice that they deem unworthy and sinful in their eyes. And so next week it's going to be other groups, not just those that they're deeming sexually explicit. And on top of it, a lot of these games that weren't even sexually explicit, like you were stating, these horror games, that it was a part of the actual story, or say dating sims that have
yeah,
sexual or provocative nature to them, but say have a little bit of cleavage in them, so they do that in the world, and now they need to be removed. How does that work?
yeah. All right, women have the wow. Grumpy keeps bringing this up, up some good points. That was a feminism. That was a repackaged communism, and not really conservative. And it's always a bunch of angry commies confused with women. These things. Beta men eventually join them. Women have a stronger sense of fairness than men, called maternal instinct, and that has been twisted into spearhead feminism, which is evil communism. Okay, but Sylth makes a good point. All right, Sylth, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm digesting what Grumpy said, and I was also reading it myself.
Yeah, and he said, "Pardon my terrifying spelling."
No, you're fine, bro. Grew up on Discord group chats. I've seen worse.
Yeah, and I mean, I've always been like very open minded, especially after I met you. You're
It was a choice.
yeah, I've had some gay friends, I've had some bi friends, but you were the first trans person I've ever met, and that basically opened my mind more, because with Roblox, I've always seen people hang out there, have fun. They have fun. They're like, it's like Spirit over there. They like to dress up. They like to have fun. But when you introduce, like, when you say, like, so many kids are there, like Neon brought this up. Neon brought no, not Neon. Yeah, Neon from Clownfish TV. He brought this up. He said that Roblox is basically like Disneyland, where there's a bunch of kids. There's eventually gonna be predators.
Yeah. The childhood whimsy flocks into disturbing, depraved bunch of folks. And at the end of the day, it's not a matter of, oh, trans rights, people of color rights, disabled rights. It's a matter of human rights, human decency. What do you want to draw the line on morally. Are you okay with this group being hurt just because others deem they're not morally right? Not morally, because others deem that they're not right in their eyes or something like that. Like in certain communities, it's normalized to be a sexual predator, and that's flippin' disgusting. Like
Yeah.
in certain areas, it's been normalized to have to just deal with that issue. It's just there. There's no getting rid of it. When there should be a disdain for it to the point where it should not just be openly accepted or openly known that this is a thing. Like how over the years, especially with the younger generation, there has become a stronger and stronger disdain in the convention community for sexual harassment. Like, just because a cosplayer with big boobs is walking around does not mean you have the right to just touch them. It does not mean you have the right to just walk up to someone and take whatever photo you want. And I really like when people stand up and they're like, this community is a community for all except predators. Like, just because we're cutting out predators does not mean we're being exclusionist. You know, like I feel like that's what a lot of companies are scared of doing, is by saying they're anti-predator, they're they're excluding a group of people, regardless of how right they should be excluded. If you're gonna think it's okay to harm children or harm someone sexually, I don't think you should have the right to just freely join a group.
Yeah. All right. So, Grumpy's still bringing the hits, dressing up, having fun, something kids do. Drag nakedness in front of children is another matter.
Most certainly.
Neon is correct, but incomplete. The entire internet is Disney World. Predators around there. You have to protect them. You have to be cautious. And predators are being used. What's that say?
Surreptitiously.
Hit there.
So, like, is there being, to my understanding of that word, being used like as scapegoats for when it like makes the company look better, but at the end of the day, they really just sweep them under the rug because they're making money for them.
Yeah. So, like, this has really hit Roblox bad ever since the schlep banning. The hundreds of families, including one here in California, where a girl was abducted by some she met in Roblox and continued her conversation in Discord. A 10-year-old girl was abducted and was driven hundreds of miles away from her home, from San Mateo, where Roblox HP was located, all the way to Elk Grove.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and that's where she was found by the guy who groomed her. And another 13-year-old girl was abducted by another predator she met on Roblox. They continue their discussion in Discord from her grandmother's house. Those two families are suing Roblox. Also, the state of Louisiana is having a suit on Roblox. A politician is actually putting a docket on in front of the house to have stricter conditions into. Yeah, it was awful. I remember seeing it on the news over here, Grumpy. But like they're going to have stricter restrictions on Roblox, and they're not going to this this is what's been happening to Roblox. Let me look this up.
Okay, they're claiming they're going to have stricter restrictions, but most humans are very easily capable, especially with the internet. A lot of like my generation, your generation, we grew up with the internet.
Yeah.
So we're very capable of getting around it. And I'm not saying that's something I would like to do. That being said, there are plenty of people who are disgusting and deprived in our generations that have decided they want to use their knowledge of the internet for heinous things. And so stricter restrictions isn't going to stop them. I personally think at this point, Roblox just needs to stop as a company. And I know realistically that's not going to happen, but that would
Yeah.
be the only way to stop it from happening.
Yeah. So like they're losing millions and millions of dollars right now because the entire stock is tanking ever since like the whole thing came out, and they have been saying that this was actually they announced that Roblox was more safe than ever. And yeah, people get lost. Roblox isn't a PDF file ring because it's being used as one. Laws need to actually be enforced. The judge Joe Biden sent to the Supreme Court let tons of pedals go before he nominated her. Yeah, that's one thing that I didn't agree with him, because I do not like. I think some people deserve a second chance, but when you mess with kids, that's it.
Why risk it? There's no reason to risk it.
Yeah. And so, like, this is really interesting because Roblox is falling like a brick. Their state of okay. I saw that. I saw that. So they have like Lego. They have like their guys are getting, the head of security of digital security there just sold all his stocks earlier this week. And don't tell me that does not say anything. And this is what I don't get. They want to make Roblox a dating site for 17 plus. And I'm like, you guys can't even keep the perverts out. Why do you want to make it easier for them?
I think what they're hoping is by making it pointed towards a higher demographic that'll dissuade those who want the smaller ages, not realizing that there are still creeps out there that will go after the older kids, and then on top of that, teenagers lie. Putting it at 17 and up, I can't tell you how. Like, I know for a fact there's going to be 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds that are going to lie straight through their teeth and put their older siblings like school ID on there to get access to it or something. And so, and creating this veil of safety because of the age minimum, they are making it even more of a treacherous pit because people are just going to assume, oh, it's just teenagers and adults. There's nothing to worry about. When in reality, it's teenagers, adults, and then a whole bunch of kids who are pretending to be someone or exposing themselves to disturbing stuff they do not need in their mind because they're assumed to be adults. This is an adult site, right?
Yeah, and this is the thing. Roblox was basically made for kids. Now it's been banned in Qatar. Like this country Qatar, it's been completely banned because they say it doesn't. And I will just say this. Okay, the Middle East seems to know that right now. Jordan is thinking about banning Roblox.
I have a little bit of a specific knowledge on that. Out there, specifically Qatar to Syria, there is a lot of lockdown on the sexualization of women. They want to protect their children, but they also would like to protect their women. And the first thing to do with that is removing all sexualization of them. If they're not sexualized, if they're not lusted after, they're automatically protected just a bit more. I'm sorry for interrupting. Please continue.
That's okay. Well, other countries are thinking about, such in the Middle East, where like you said, women are protected. They want to ban Roblox, but also like Schlep, the hashtag free while they have like usernames like maps for you, maps sell for you.
Oh, that's
You-
disgusting. I hate the people that are claiming to be a part of the LGBTQ because they are maps, and they're claiming that being a map is something you can't control. Being attracted to a child is something that you can't control. If that is something that is such an urge to you that you are claiming it is a sexual identity, get castrated.
Yeah.
Remove your reproductive organs. Remove all the lustful thinking that is built up in your body and your mind. You don't need it. You really don't. That's something where it's like, no, you're not a map, honey. You're Arrow Ace, or you will be after this. I promise you.
Yeah, but also like, but they said they Roblox also put free schleps. They put that as inappropriate conduct, as an inappropriate name. But this went so bad that Creekcraft, one of the biggest Roblox stars and one of the biggest YouTubers for Roblox, he actually left Roblox in protest because of what they did to schleps.
Good for him. He has morals. At least right now, he has morals to stand on.
Yeah, he left Roblox because he would report predators. He would report predators through Roblox accounts, but they would stay up. And after what he heard, he was a big advocate for schlep. But after he was at Roblox, a custom made Roblox where they had Schlepp's funeral, where they honored Schlepp for what he did to the community. Roblox shut it down. And he's like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
More like salt on the wound, why don't you?
Yeah. So
also, thank you again so much, Grumpy. I really, really appreciate it. That was from a con I actually went to with Bandito, and that is a friend who is in the Hollow Knight cosplay, and I am in the Ghostface costume.
Yeah. Oh, that was from Fan Expo. Yeah, I remember that.
I squealed so much, especially with the girls who were cosplaying the Monster High characters. Oh my god.
Yeah. Really did love the Hollow Knight, especially now that we know that Silk Song is coming out later this year.
Oh, I know. Funny enough, when I saw them and complimented them on their cosplay, they actually gave me a little Hollow Knight sticker that says "Nerd cannot be found" and everything, and it's on my sewing machine. I love looking at it.
Yeah. All right. So, but like, so many you now people are taking Creekcraft's lead and are leaving Roblox, and these guys are content creators. Most of their income comes from Roblox accounts, but they don't care. If Roblox would rather protect the predators, they don't want the income coming from them.
They can find a new game.
Yeah.
Really, at this point, with so many indie creators in the realm, I would be gobsmacked if there was a game that followed similarity to Roblox and the sociality of it. Because I think that's the biggest draw to for Roblox is you can play darn near anything and have an extremely social game hub.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you a video. There was this one Roblox account called Meep City, and this is basically the worst type of amusement park you could think of. No security, no anything. And he's like, okay, I got a new account. Let's see what we could if we could find something inappropriate. How long will it take me inappropriate? All right.
Let me guess. It got like 3 seconds in.
10 seconds actually before you found a walking dong. Someone after
they beat my expectations. They held on just a bit longer than I thought they would.
Yeah, so here we go. All right. All right, so let me bring it up. Yeah, it doesn't look like Sully's gonna make it.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I love hanging out with you, dude.
Why, thank you. And I apologize I have not been able to make it the last few times.
Hey, it's okay. All right, so here we go.
Fresh account, brand new Roblox account. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna join Meep City, and I just want to see how long it takes until I see something inappropriate in the game. All right, so I'm
And
gonna
Meep City is a Phineas and Ferb based
all
project,
right,
which is
never
another
never
kids show.
played on it before, and yep, there's a penis. So that's about let's see here, about 10 seconds.
All right.
So just to give an example of how bad this problem is on Roblox here, it's like that was a random server. I don't have any friends added. There's no one, this isn't a trick or anything. I just joined a random server. And I could join
There's
another one. I'll
genitalia.
see something else inappropriate. That's how bad the issue is here.
Yeah. And they reported this. Okay. So let's take a break real quick. We're gonna go in intermission. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right, so like with Roblox gone, I'm completely convinced that we're gonna get another like big indie studio to pick up the pieces, because this is just ridiculous.
I think we need to start having more personal platforms for these games as opposed to like Roblox and stuff like that. I would hope that someone would take up the mantle, especially with how Steam has made it very clear that they do not care. Like, these gaming companies are not our friends. Us assuming they are is going to do nothing more than hurt us.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Neil Gaiman from the Steam, he is a very big advocate for game development, because he was one of those game developers that started from the bottom. then he created Half-Life, and we know the rest of the story. But like when Collective Shout tried to have him take down those games, he said no.
As he should.
But now I'm wondering what is Collective Shout's answer going to be when people are going to be like, okay, if you're attacking indie developers and like games that were meant for adults, why aren't you attacking Roblox when there's people who are there trying to get things like for get pics from kids. I mean, this is real, and this just doesn't have for me. Like, I have two autistic cousins. One's high functioning, one's low functioning. The oldest one is low functioning. He has panic attack. He'll get panic attacks when he's overwhelmed. And one of the things he does is he listens to music, or he'll play on his iPad. And I don't know if he plays Roblox, and I'm terrified that someone will take advantage of him. But I know my uncle and my tia will never let that happen. But I'm afraid what could happen. Like I get a call from my friend saying, "Hey, my daughter ended up getting put in a Discord call with a predator." And I'm like, shit. I'm terrified of what could happen, especially to the people I know.
Oh yeah, as someone like I plan on fostering or adopting at some point with my husband, and like it's a question of should we, because are we emotionally and mentally mentally capable of handling the challenges that this internet has now caused? Like, I'm gonna have to deal with having to talk with my kids like, hey, sorry, no phones, no tablets, no iPads, no nothing in the house, because I just don't want to deal with that thought process of like, okay, what if Lexi, the little girl that Hannah's talking to, what if Lexi is really Larson, like 3 states away, and trying to get them to go to like pony meet or something like that? And it turns into a whole thing. I don't want to worry about that. So I just would rather remove all access to that than let an adult mess around and find out with my kid, you know?
Yeah, I'm into MMA, and one of my favorite fighters was King Velasquez, and I told you I'm terrified of what will happen because I don't know what will I do to the person that took advantage of these people that I consider either I love or I consider friends. And Cain Velasquez, he actually tried to kill. His daughter was essayed by a daycare worker, and he chased down the car. And he chased down the car down the highway and tried to kill the guy, but ended up shooting his stepfather twice, but because he was shooting from a movie vehicle. But it was a crime of emotion, and he pled no contest for attempted murder and attempted vehicular manslaughter. And he got 5 years. And I am like, am I going to be like? It's like one of the questions is it's like, what will you do if it happened to you?
As a daycare worker, like, I know myself, if I found out one of my coworkers was doing that to a child, I'd be calling family members and like I'd be using my singular call to inform family members that if they need to contact me, I'll be in prison, because that's probably what would go down.
Yeah.
I would have a crime of passion myself. I would have an outburst. Like, I don't understand how any human can react sensibly to that. Like a father and a part of California ended up finding out that his brother did something to his daughter, and he killed him. He walked right on over to his house. He beat him to a pulp, removed his genitals, put them in his mouth, and then started dismembering him.
Yeah.
And he got off completely scot-free from that. And I am so happy to hear that, because honestly, he was just serving justice. He wasn't like overly hostile. He didn't take it out on his brother's baby mama or nothing. He literally went straight to the source, did away with the source, and went back to his life.
Yeah. But he was lucky, but can't like people like Kane. They actually went. They would actually go berserk, and other people would end up getting hurt, and people would end up like Kane, end up behind bars. But that's why we need people like Schlepp, people who not only can take the law into their own hands, but also work with law enforcement. Because Schlepp didn't just do it. He got in touch with law enforcement and also the missing them. Hang on.
He was a proper vigilante about the
Yeah.
whole situation.
The
Like,
missing.
he pulled a Dick Grayson instead of a Jason Todd.
Yeah, he went, and he also got in touch with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and gave them all the evidence they needed. He would, like, with their decoys, it would be like what Chris Hansen did. Like, oh, speaking of, Chris Hansen came out of retirement to support Schlepp.
Good crap. We need more people out there, especially with a lot of the big people, non-politically, but a lot of the big people being known, confirmed predators that have literally been tried in a court system and have been getting slapped on the wrist. We can only hope that there will be vigilantes out there that won't allow this.
Mm-hmm.
So that we don't have to like exist in fear and stuff like that, or because it's been made very clear, especially with the recent years, that we're not going to be getting the proper justice if they have a certain pay grade.
Yeah.
So how do we get around that if they have a certain pay grade? You don't. You either handle it yourself with your own hands, take the quote unquote justice you get for that, and then go about your whatever life you have left.
Yeah. So like, Grumpy brings up a good point. Pedal rings is everywhere. You can't conceive of it being. And yeah, that is true. I mean, there are so many places. Like, as soon as it's basically like crime. As soon as you take down one family, it's like the mafia.
It creates a power vacuum.
Yeah. So like, only thing we could do is like hope, pray, and hope, and maybe seeing their money disappear. That Roblox gets their collective heads out of their ass and decides to protect their audience instead of the people funding them. Like, but
we need tarring and feathering back. I agree with that, Grumpy. And we also need some good old Predator versus Alien. Alien gets leadership after taking out 3 predators. I personally think that would work really well. But the politicians wouldn't agree to it, because then they would be on the chopping block.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to bring this up with John, but we ran out of time with him.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm glad you two actually got to talk a lot about tabletop RPGs, because when I first met him, I was like, my friend would get along great with you.
And you were correct.
Yeah. But the Minecraft movie came out, made over $1 billion. Christ, man. All right, go ahead.
I can see it. I was just gonna say, I can see it happening. It had 2 big hitters of, like, with Jack Black and Jason Momoa. Jack Black brings his own fandom with him where he goes. It's not a matter of, oh, Jack Black is in something cool, good to know. His entire personal fandom has watched everything he has been in, has played everything he's been in, has listened to everything he's been in because of how great of a person he is, and also the character he is. You don't get a lot of Jack Blacks in the world who are authentically themselves, have been stepped on, and flip off the person stepping on them, basically. And then
Yeah.
Jason Momoa was just a powerhouse in his own right. He's got that sexual appeal to him. He's got that like kind-hearted, big fluffy nature, and he recently had a whole with the whole Amber Heard that thing happened and how Jason reacted. He ended up accumulating a small fan base himself. And then
Yeah.
on top of it, it's flipping Minecraft. People
Yeah.
literally went for the memes of it so they could say they went to the Minecraft movie so that they could do the whole chicken jockey thing. I know people who have watched, like, physically bought a movie ticket up to 3 times so because they didn't get the perfect chicken jockey until the very third time.
But like 2 big powerhouse superhero movies came out. It was James Gunn's Superman, also this year. James Gunn's Superman and Fantastic Four. And I actually enjoyed Fantastic Four.
Really?
Yeah.
It didn't crash and burn like we thought?
No. I mean, oh, here we go. TTRPGs are loads of fun. Oh, he likes Marvel riffs. Oh, wow. You like a whole lot of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I did not know there was a DBZ or TTRPG.
Yeah, I think my ex used to play it. It was a game specifically on Xbox and PS4s. And I think we're thinking about the 2 different things, but Dragon Ball Z created a lot of differently licensed games, like the TTPRG, and then also they had a lot of digital games that actually had story-based lines that was really interesting. Like, it was a whole, like,
Yeah.
social club, and you could do fights with other people, and you could recreate your own characters, like, that were based off of specific races in Dragon Ball Z. It was a whole cool thing. Dragon Ball Z really carried the ball for gamers in the early 2010s, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, we have Riffs. Oh, I did not know they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one.
If it's popular enough, it exists. That's just the rule I go by now at this point.
Hey, I'm not a Philistine.
That's fair.
I'm not a Philistine. I'll go get it. I'll go get it. Okay, I'm a DBZ fan. All right, so yeah, Gunman and we're both underwhelming. They, however, were better than expected. Yes, I agree with you both on there. Because like James Gunn, Superman, and Fantastic Four, they both did very well in the box office, but worldwide, they both made a little over $500 million.
Which is half of what Minecraft made.
Yeah. All right. Riffs. Yeah. Riffs made. Oh, Riffs made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're just jonesing me. You're just joking. Yeah, and I gotta bring this up. Do you think video game movies are basically going to be the new fad for Hollywood?
Yes, it's sad. It's very sad because it seems these big execs that are creating these movies, they don't really, it's hard to encompass the actual, like, experience of playing these games, because especially because a lot of these games are very multifaceted. Like, for example, if we were both playing Hollow Knight, I'm gonna explore. I get every single charm in the game. I have select fights that I adore and have done them over and over and over again to the point where I do them hitless. But like you or my younger sibling, on the other hand, My younger sibling loves the parkour side of Hollow Knight, loves the exploration, kind of, loves hitting everything with a gosh darn nail. Completely different playthroughs. You could technically encompass the fact that we both enjoy exploring, but at the end of the day, if we were both making a movie on Hollow Knight, my movie might focus on all the beautiful different biomes and the story that is entangled in between, while theirs might be an action thriller about which big baddie they're going to hit next. And so it's just really hard to encompass a full player's experience with these games. Like Minecraft really dropped the ball by focusing so heavily on the story theme. I feel if they went down more the creative or survival mode of things, it would have hit a little bit better. If they did it, they went based off the story mode.
All right. Yeah, I agree. There were a lot of plot holes in Fantastic Four. They actually did cut a lot of it out. I mean, John Malkovich was supposed to be there as the Red Ghost, but they cut out his entire scene. You could actually tell, like, what was edited, what was left on the editing room. There were like very, very different stories from this for the Thing that was actually edited out, and like Pedro wasn't Reed Richards, he was mopey and weepy, which Reed Richards is not. And I got a problem with both legs, but they're just barely slid into first base. But I mean, like, video game movies are taking over. I mean, look at Sonic, and then look at Super Mario Brothers, and then of course Pokemon and Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, personally, I didn't get the hype for the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. I know that's very controversial to say, but I did not get it. I think they did a great story and they used the characters of Five Nights at Freddy's really well. But I just think it shouldn't have been a movie in my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did a better Five Nights at Freddy's with Willy's Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, if they wanted to do a love story between the Heralds for Johnny, use Frankie Ray as Nova. Duh. Yeah, I know. But they wanted the surfer to they wanted to put like the different surfer in this one, prove that this is not the 616. This is basically this is not the cinematic universe where the Silver Surfer is male. They wanted to show it was a different universe. So that's why they casted the Silver Surfer as a woman instead of Norrin Rad, who was a guy. But yep, c'est la vie. Are you kidding me? I wanted the Message Surfer instead. Yeah. Oh yeah. The message surfer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
what does that mean?
There was a first time the Silver Surfer was introduced. It was basically to deliver the message to the Fantastic Four and everyone in on Earth, saying Galactus was coming.
Oh, okay. So it's the thought process that this character purely exists to move along the plot with displaying important information, basically.
Yeah, and this was actually another. This was actually another one. This was actually the message Silver Surfer was actually someone who was completely brainwashed by Galactus. I think, yeah. Norrin Rad was completely brainwashed by Galactus, so he would not become. So he would not because it's kind of the same thing. Norrin Rad basically gave up. Yeah, That too, Sylph. No, I don't think they did they did want to put a part of the agenda. I mean, they because they did. There was the original Rise of the Silver Surfer with Lawrence Fishburne as Silver Surfer. I think they just wanted to. They just didn't want to make it. They didn't want to see like her having a like her have like them doing a beat for beat of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel bad for the actress as she's a good actress, not her fault. Go watch her as the lead in Weapons.
I heard
Fun.
Weapons is also really good. A couple of my friends have told me to watch it and stuff like that.
Yeah, very good. I've heard great stuff. So yeah, he was so Norrin Rad was basically like a mind wipe zombie, but like one of the things that Reed Richards was trying to figure out how to stop Galactus and he was basically working with Hank Pym and Tony Stark, but he couldn't figure out a way to stop it. But one of the things that they got was Owatu, the Watcher, who basically watches and observes everything that's happening on Earth, and he gave Reed Richards the ultimate nullifier, and the ultimate nullifier actually scared Galactus, but when Reed started the ultimate nullifier, it actually snapped Norrin Rad out of his control. So yeah, Galactus was the Silver Surfer was free. He had no, and that's when they started the Silver Surfer comics in the 70s. Yeah, Endgame was like, yeah, I feel like I agree with you right there. It's like Marvel's running out of steam. He wanted all women. Yeah, yes, I remember that. That's why they called it the MCU. And then you get stuff like She-Hulk, the Marvels. Oh god.
Well, these people are claiming they would like to write more women into the MCU, yet it's very clear that they don't have a basic understanding of writing women properly, aside from being side characters. Like, typically, it's not an issue if you're using a woman as a divisive piece, but when you have her in the forefront, your lacking of that knowledge is going to show immediately because she can't just be something that interacts with something else and that's the story. That's no, she needs to have her own character, her own morals, her own drive that isn't completely derived in being a woman or something like that. And typically they don't really know how to do that. Hell, some female writers don't even know how to write proper women into their stories. And it really, a lot of these people are claiming it's a DEI attempt when in reality, they genuinely want a woman in this, like they see a woman fitting this model or fitting this character archetype, but they don't know how to write her properly. So it comes off as an attempt to just throw a woman in there because she wasn't written properly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, John Favreau. Yeah, he's a great comic. Hey, do not bring up Joe Quesada. Do not bring up Joe Quesada on this stream. I will block you, Crumpy. No, not really, but seriously, I have not forgiven Joe Quesada since One More Day. All right, many people suck at writing, but claim some sort of offense as an excuse for it. And yeah, I agree with that. I mean, a lot of look at I've always saw like characters like She-Hulk or Ray Palpatine as self-inserts and Mary Sue's, and it always
It's just a poorly written women in reality.
Yeah.
Like we need more traditional seven, not traditional as in the mindset, but I really like how the original Wonder Woman was written in the early 2000s and stuff like that. Like we need more women characters like that. She was flavored, she was layered, she was a chaotic, like good. Like she was okay. I believe in women's rights. I think these women are being oppressed. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna give them a bunch of guns and teach them how to not be oppressed. I loved that type of mentality and forethought. Like the fact that she just wanted something and did it, regardless of how that looked on her morally. I think we need more characters with that have a clear drive. They're not afraid to be in the wrong and not just in the wrong because it's the right thing to do, just in the wrong. Because like that's the issue with these Mary Sue type archetypes is they never mess up. They never have anything wrong. If they do have something wrong, it's that I'm so quirky type flavor archetype. Like we've been seeing that so many times within like the last 3 to 4 years. Like the Raya character, the I can't think of her name. It's the new character from like the Lucky movies. Just Aisha, the new character from the newest Disney princess movie. Her entire thing is being quirky.
Oh,
You know what I mean? She's either quirky or wanting to start a war. There's no character meet in between that. It's just that.
yeah. All right. So Wonder Woman was the only halfway decent movie of Zack Snyder ever made because he wasn't allowed to direct it. He just gave Patty Jenkins notes. Yeah. But I think Patty Jenkins completely destroyed it. That completely screwed it up when she did Wonder Woman 84. Yeah. Sylph, you're coming in and out.
Huh?
Oh.
I didn't say anything. My apologies. I think that's the noise coming outside of my apartment. A lot of gentlemen are getting home right now and they have big trucks.
Yeah. You're in the South.
Oh yeah, I honestly like it because it's either big trucks or there's no vehicles, and it's nice because you can hear everything coming by. Like especially as a bike rider yourself, I know you know a lot of people probably are very rude to bike riders and stuff like that. Like they don't, it's because they're like electric cars. You can't hear them coming up.
Yeah.
But with these loud old trucks with no I forget the term, no muffler and stuff like that, you hear them coming from like 200 feet away. It's very nice.
Yeah. All right. Patty Jenkins didn't realize what she had with Wonder Woman. Wait, what?
Did Wonder Woman sexually assault a gentleman?
No, that was basically, I don't know. I think it was because when she wished to bring Steve back, I don't work like the monkey's paw.
Oh, when is that the gentleman that he would propose every day to her, basically?
Yeah.
And then the moment she finally said yes, he died.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I'm aware of that story, kind of. I love Wonder Woman, but to be completely honest, I haven't seen a whole lot of her recently, at least. But it was a monkey paw situation, so he came back, but he wasn't himself, like, mentally. And so she pushed herself onto him. Type situation. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. I remember.
Leaving Diana's never settle.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying. A lot of people are. I've always said this. I've always said this because I used to watch the Justice League cartoon when I was a kid. I was like, I always thought that Batman and Wonder Woman would make a great couple, but I mean, no, they're just too toxic to do.
one of them would have to give up something.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman would have to give up her thought process around men specifically, because if she didn't, she would be on edge throughout the relationship and never trust Batman. And Batman does a lot of sketch, so I understand why she wouldn't trust him. Batman would have to give up his contingency plans, which we all know is never going to happen. Batman has more contingency plans than he does have dead parents.
Yeah. But anyways, like there's talks of other video games adaptations that are gonna get like that are gonna get the movie treatment. Like Zelda. I just heard this. A lot of people were worried, or a lot of people did. I thought this was ridiculous because if she was the best actress, she should get the part.
Yeah, but people don't do that nowadays. It's if she's a good actress, okay actress, how much money does she make? That's
Yeah,
the biggest thing. How many things has she been in? Does her face attract things? With few outliners. Like, I know there are studios who specifically go for people who don't have names so they can build a name for them. Or like Jenna Ortega will never be put in certain stuff
yeah,
because she is forever associated with Wednesday. Like, I personally can't watch Wednesday without thinking, oh, that's Jenna Ortega. And that's just all I think the entire time. And that works really well for her in a lot of categories, but it sucks in categories where like you want to create a movie and you want it to have its own vibe. You can't do that with like I can't think of anyone's name off the top of my head. You can't do that with like you can't walk into a studio and be like, I'm gonna have a really cheery, upbeat one. Let's have Jenna Ortega do the entire thing. And people aren't gonna be like, you mean the grumpy girl who never smiles? Like they're gonna already associate her with misery and depression and stuff like that.
yeah. There was actually one that was that they actually had someone who was going to this was actually don't hate on this is the like don't hate on this actor or this actress, but like the Hunter Schafer, people thought that she was originally in talks with having with being Zelda, but I would have but don't hate on this actress. I think she's good. She was before she transitioned, she did a lot of Disney movies, and she did a lot of sitcoms. But like, I didn't no hate on her, but it would have been such a bad idea to put her in there because people would just be there are a lot of people who are not ready for like her to have a main role yet. And
Okay, I think that's a stupid opinion, honestly.
yeah, but
like, if they're not, why should you assume who's ready for what? And
well,
at that point, if you know these people aren't going to be a part of that, then cool, you don't need them in your fan base.
yeah, but I did not want this because I know there are some people that aren't going to accept her as Zelda, and I'm like,
I agree with Grumpy. They just shouldn't do live action Zelda at all. How is that going to translate with Link?
yeah. Okay, so they get so far they got Bo Garrison as Zelda, Derek Connolly as Link.
Okay, so they're either going to ruin it by making Link talk, or they're going to have to focus with Link's inner dialogue 24/7, or they're going to do it with Link being silent. All three options, I could see them crashing and burning. Option one, they ruin the entirety of it by having Link talk and ruin the entirety of the lore in the games and all that fun stuff. Option two, they completely misunderstand Link as a character and they display it with his poor inner thought process. Option three, it's not going to draw people's attention if there is very little audio, because a lot of this The Legend of Zelda focuses on Link doing his own thing by himself. So
Yeah,
you
so
either have him with a lot more people, which goes apart from the story, or it's boring as all hell.
yeah, so this is so far this is the cast. Bo Garrison, and I have nothing but love for the both actresses who tried out for the part, but like like there were some people who were upset that Hunter Schafer might get the role, but then there were other people on the other side that Bo Garrison got the role, but I was like, can't you just be happy that the movie's happening? I mean, aren't you supposed to be fans of Zelda?
They caused drama because one of them didn't get the part.
Yeah, and one actually, and the other side caused drama because the Hunter Schafer was trans and she might get the role, but then the other side who are very vocal, as the other side, they got mad because Hunter Schafer didn't get the role, and I'm like, can't you just be happy either way? The movie's happening.
Well, it constantly brings to the question, you don't want someone to get at least I don't want anyone to get a role simply because they're trans, but you also always worry and wonder, did they not get the role purely because they're trans? And that's just something that shouldn't happen. Was this not the lady who ended up being Jules in Euphoria?
I don't know. Let me see.
I'm just curious because she 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 seems familiar to me. I agree with Grubby on the matter of that Link is supposed to represent all players, so could have been boy or girl. I think they could have gone down the non-binary path, but I also understand how much of a steep hill that is and why they wouldn't want to touch it, you know?
Yeah.
No, I misspoke. She was
And
not. And
yeah, so yeah, okay, so and Benjamin Evan Ansmith is going to be Link, and so far there are other players that have been confirmed, but they don't have any big parts yet. We got David Connolly, Brian Steele, Idris Elba, David Blaine, and Jason Momoa. They are all going to be in The Legend of Zelda. All right. Oh, that's why Hunter never tried for the role. It was a publicist trying to drum up talk. Oh God, I hate it when they do when journalists do this.
yellow journalism. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, one of the things that I got mad at journalists is because they, like Kotaku, did some articles that I was like, that were like, oh, Link is a gay icon, and I'm like, what? But Link is the player. Just because you see yourself in the character doesn't mean that it's the same thing. And also they're like, oh, Sora should be revealed to be gay, and I'm like, but that hasn't happened yet. Why? And I'm like, yeah. So yellow, it's gold. Yeah, I despise dishonorable journalism too. It's just that the icon that you're playing the character, and it's great that people who are in the LGBTQ community see themselves in the character, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that no offense self, it doesn't mean that the character is actually part of the LGBTQ community, because I remember there was an article that a lot of people got upset because Bayonetta was revealed to be straight, heterosexual after Bayonetta 3. You still with me, buddy?
Yep, I'm just listening.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand. I understand it. I love seeing myself in video game characters too. But if I was a video game character, I wouldn't be a short, fat, hairy Mexican.
Yes, you would. Just like how I'd be a skinny, scrawny little white boy.
Yeah. All right.
I wish I was 6'5". I'd be celebrating if I'm 6'5", but I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
5'10", and I get to do a little height reveal at the end of every Spirit season, which is still hilarious.
Yeah. I don't care if you're gay or anything else. I care when you're extremists and try to claim the character who are not written gay. Bayonetta was never anything but straight. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, he agrees with you, Sylph.
Okay. From a standpoint, I completely understand you can't be mad when you find out someone is straight, but you can't be disappointed. Now, you can't ever force anyone into any form of a box or an identity, straight or gay. That being said, you can always have your own little canon head theories. Like, saying that Bayonetta is canon straight does not really stop anyone from making lesbian fan fiction, so there's no reason to have an uproar about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like Grumpy. He likes having here we go. I wrote fanfic which Batman ends up with Wonder Woman. Then she has to die after they have a daughter, and she actually ascends to the pantheon, forging a path for their daughter. Then Batman. You can write a fan theory in your head, and that's why I always like video games, especially when the character is such a blank slate that you can you can pretend what kind of character he was before he ended up somewhere in the. That's why I loved Elden Ring when it came out, or any of the Souls games, because you're given such a blank slate of a character.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are going on to 2.5 hours, and I think we can call it a night. All right, so
Yeah.
anything you want to say, where we can find you, where we can find your art?
I don't post very recently. I don't post at all because screw AI. They don't get any form of my art to turn into AI slop. If you want to see my art, gotta see it in person. Otherwise, sucks to suck.
Yeah, hopefully when we do another one, you could show us some of your sketches.
Maybe. I'm currently working on a nice little arm piece for hubby. It's an Angel of Death inspired by Bloodborne, kind of inspired by the wisps that exist. I can't remember the proper name for them, but it's the ladies that were the servants of the White Queen. It's that meets the gargoyles that are sitting outside of the purgatory.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Grumpy. Thanks for yeah. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. We got to respect the canon. Doesn't mean we have to like it. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man fan, and I don't like One More Day. Okay, so hopefully hopefully by issue 1000 it'll be done.
Yeah. I mean, you don't technically have to respect the canon in a matter of your fanfic, but yes, you do have to respect the canon outside of your fanfic, because that's why fan fiction exists, is so that you can do your own thing and not ruin it for everyone else. I personally think these companies are focusing way too much on making everybody happy, and so no one's happy.
Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. Grumpy's bringing up some. I'm 19.
Yes, I draw, I paint, I animate, and I like to design tattoos in my free time. It's one of my biggest aspirations. I've been working on a comic for roughly, holy crap, 4 years now. A Bunnyman comic based off an alien that ends up dropping during the 1920s.
All right, and yeah, fanfics is fanfic for a reason. But
Exactly.
all right, so we're gonna call it a night. Thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks for John's long box for showing up earlier. And Grumpy, thanks for keeping up with us. And those of you who are out there, remember to treat each other with respect, and remember the golden rule, like Lucy said it in Fallout.
Curb stop predators.
No, she said. She said the golden rule is treat everyone as you expect yourself to be treated. All right, so this has been Bandito Bane and my buddy Sylth, the voice of it, our voice of Gen Z and the LGBTQ community.
I just speak for myself and myself alone.
Yeah. All right. So remember what I say. Keep playing, and God bless. We will see you in 2 weeks.